of the basic requirements of being a good student is to show up in class on time. And it's not because there is a teacher who says, "President Hashimapilo, where's the names?" When you hear a name, you have to say, "Present." No, it's not for that. Nobody looks at those lists with absences and so on. And even if they look, they don't care. But why is it important to be present in class? Who can make an educated guess? I'm going to ask you.
Okay, so you have to listen to all the material. When it is given by the teacher, it's more likely that you will understand the material than if it is given by your peers and colleagues. So it will be a plus for you.
What else?
Visual memory is more and you should associate maybe some movements on diagram.
What else?
In class, you have a chance to ask questions.
Anything else?
You know what to learn because the teacher gives you the most important things or keywords.
Maybe it's extra points for showing up.
Especially for girls. Especially for girls.
So let's look at all of this. And this will allow me to bring to the next point. Like I said, there would be three major pillars on which this whole presentation relies. The first one was in rejecting rote learning and trying your best to avoid it and to counter teachers who force you to do that. The second pillar on which the lecture relies is the filtering of the information we are given in class. I called it input because it's anything that comes to our video input, audio input, and perhaps smell, whatever, vibrations, anything we feel in class. All of that can be used by us as an aid to memorize things in a better way. So somebody there said, when we are in class, people who are mostly visual, they can look at the blackboard and not just listen to what the teacher says, and that helps them understand better. Other people rely more on audio input. So let's, right here. I am one such person myself. Since I don't have perfect eyesight, even if I sit in the first row, I can't usually see what's on the blackboard. Therefore, throughout the years, I learned to extract as much information from just the audio signal which I receive when I am in class. If I were absent from class and looking just at the lecture notes, I would be severely handicapped, if you know what I'm saying. So imagine that you're reading the lecture notes rather than being present in class. You don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have that, neither this nor that. So, even this. You can't interact with the teacher, nor can you interact with your peers. You're on your own. And that, imagine that this represents the whole range of input signals. And from all of that, you you get just this little part. And this little part is insignificant. You cannot memorize the whole thing if you rely just on one type of input. So that's the problem. Which is why being there accounts for 50% of success. You may hear some keywords, you may hear some jokes, you may memorize an interesting graph which you like, or pictures which don't look too scientific, but somehow they got attached to the material you were exposed to. A bonus for showing up, yes, it's true, because that's what the formula we get from the DNS. When you calculate the final mark, you have to take into account the attendance of the student. Teachers are free to ignore them, and I am one of those teachers. Therefore, if you show up in my classes all the time, you're not doing this for the bonus. Don't be under that impression, because it's not so. You're doing this for all of the above. And somebody said that usually it's better to ask a question, to ask the teacher, because the teacher can explain it better than your peers can do. Well, that's not correct. Because your peers are closer to you than the teachers are, because our system is designed in such a way that there is usually a distance between teachers and students, which is why students are afraid to ask questions, because they think that they will look dumb and the teacher will lack wisdom, for example. So students are less likely to interact with the teacher. It's kind of natural. It's not correct, it's not good, but it's what happens. But your peers, on the other hand, they're your friends. They're people to whom you can call late at night, or you can swear when you talk to them. You can push them aside, you can do pranks on them, like removing chairs when they try to sit, and so on. And these are people with whom you can interact. And these are people who speak using the same terms as you use. And as an example, I will remember my first days in the university. Like I told you, I was really bad at mathematics since high school. And a lot of my knowledge here in the university was supposed to be based on stuff I should be aware of, but I wasn't. And only thanks to my colleagues, I actually started understanding some bits of information, and suddenly things started making sense. So your colleagues are a very valuable resource, which many of you simply don't use. And that's bad. And by saying use the resource, I'm not saying abusing the resource or exploiting the resource. There are people just like you are. It's absolutely okay to ask questions. And you should remember that when somebody asks you something, you should be just as friendly as you wish they were if you ask them. It makes sense, it's not complicated, it's just basic human-to-human interaction.